I say if you're classy but you're reckless, then you gon' get you.
Welcome back, SFL Nation. Welcome to SFL Nights with AJ Striker. Thank you so much for joining me today or tonight or whenever you decided to hit that play button or turn on that radio dial. I really appreciate it, y'all. And I have here with me my owner, my coach, owner of the year. What else? We got so many titles right now.
That's about it. Hall of Fame strong safety.
There you go. Hall of Fame. I knew you was gonna add to it. Eddie Gage, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Got off work today early, so feeling pretty good.
All right, fantastic. I'm glad you made time for me, brother. I know that you spend a lot of time traveling, and I know that you spend a lot of time working and stuff. So, thank you for being here.
No problem.
We will be going over the semifinals and the championship games, as well as the recent signings. There have been some interesting signings that I definitely wanted to get this man's opinion about. Followed by the King Awards with Isaiah King. He decided to give out some rookie awards that I thought was very interesting. And then we're going to have our fourth and goal interview that features new tight end for the Arizona Scorpions, Will Todd.
That's right.
And new linebacker for Arizona Scorpions, Mr. Sean Moore.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a great show. I'm really looking forward to bringing it to you, and we're getting ready to start things up right now. So, Eddie, SFLM had a fantastic season, man. It just seems like everybody is kind of understanding, especially the coaches. They're getting a great understanding of the playbooks and everything. Some of the returning players were true stars this season, and you can kind of tell that on the field. What was your thoughts?
With another season comes more experience coaching with those guys. A lot of guys came back coaching, and as they get more tenure and more time down there, it's only going to get better. So you can see it on the field, the talent level, as they progress throughout the season, combined with that coaching experience, getting more and more of it. It's just going to bring out the best of all parties involved over there.
Absolutely. So first up, we have the semifinals round, which was absolutely amazing. Anybody that missed it, you can definitely go back and check it out on the SFL's YouTube channel. Must watch. But the first game was the Salt Lake City Rustlers taking on the Albuquerque Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an excellent game to watch. Hold on, let me get my notes back right quick. And Salt Lake won 33-20. I did get this wrong. I said that the Adams was going to pull this win out, and they did not. So I'm sure Isaiah is going to give me some grief about that. In a little bit. Salt Lake had 281 yards passing, 65 yards rushing for 346 yards total. Their time of possession was 25 minutes, 46 seconds with one mistake. The Adams had an unbelievable season, by the way, but they had 214 yards passing this game, 100 yards rushing, 314 yards total. Their time of possession was 18 minutes and 10 seconds with 3 mistakes. So, Eddie, what do you think changed with the Albuquerque Adams? They were undefeated, went the whole season that way, had 3 turnovers. They put up more yards rushing than Salt Lake City. What do you think happened?
Those teams just played each other a week earlier, and Albuquerque blew them out. And you just wonder, anytime something like that happens, you have a quick turnaround. You wonder if those coaches, Salt Lake City made changes because they got blown out. They had to. And you just wonder what changes, if any, Albuquerque made. And they have an experienced coaching staff over there with Swoe and, those guys. So you just wonder if they made any changes. I don't know. I didn't ask them, but they just could not sustain drives. They got turnovers all over the place. They finished with 3, and they just could not get their offense going. I mean, the stats say otherwise, but a lot of that came late. When the game is pretty much in doubt. And Albuquerque, they turned them over twice early on and turned both of those opportunities into touchdowns, I believe. And before you knew it, they had a big lead. Excuse me, Salt Lake City had a big lead, and Albuquerque could just never, recover.
Right.
They got a pick six late in the second half or before halftime, but that was a smoke and mirrors because Salt Lake City had their number all game.
Very true. So much so that Tommy Utah was the player of the game. Yeah. He's their quarterback. 30 completions out of 45 attempts, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, and his quarterback rating is 89.2. Another great game to watch was the Flight, San Jose Flight taking on the Tacoma Grizzlies, and the Flight won 35-19. The Flight had 171 yards passing, only 129 yards rushing, with 300 yards total. Their time of possession was 21 minutes and 11 seconds with 2 mistakes. The Tacoma Grizzlies had 235 yards passing, but only 85 yards rushing, for 320 yards total. Their time of possession was 22 minutes and 49 seconds with 4 mistakes. So, Eddie, do you think that the turnovers were the catalyst and the reason why San Jose won? Because and not really able to get their rushing game off the right way?
I think so. I didn't see that game because I was in the airport trying to get boarded. It was chaos in the airport. It's another story for another day. But by the time I got boarded, like I said, I missed most of that game. But Tacoma has been snake bitten by turnovers all season, and they could just never seem to get their offense going. I think they were like, one of the they were in the bottom echelon in terms of passing offense. So it was just, they just could not get it going. I mean, they had spurts throughout the season, but that playoff game was just pretty much how their season went, and they just could never get out their own way offensively, and it led to their demise. You muted, Ashley. There you go.
Muted, sis. All right, so Jimmy Hazards was the player of the game, and this their halfback. He had 26 attempts, 133 yards, 1 touchdown, and went 39 reception yards and 1 reception touchdown. I tell you what, Jimmy Hazards had a fantastic season this year.
He has.
Yeah, definitely.
Someone needs to draft that kid. He's very electric. He's exciting. He's very passionate. I saw his interview with you several weeks ago, and you can tell he's passionate. He's going to be around for a long time, and I hope someone drafts that kid because he's going to be a joy to anyone's locker room.
Definitely, and I think they will, definitely. And it brings us to the championship game. So San Jose Flight took on the Salt Lake City Rustlers, and Salt Lake won it all. If you did not check out the Salt Lake City Championship podcast, you can check it out on our YouTube page. I'll leave the link in the description. It was absolutely amazing. Those guys definitely deserved to win. And it was fun just talking to them and getting their feedback on everything. But Salt Lake, and I'm sorry, they won 20-12. I didn't say so. But Salt Lake had 260 yards passing, 89 yards rushing, for 349 yards total. Their time of possession was 21 minutes, 48 seconds with only 1 mistake. The Flight had 191 yards passing, 87 yards rushing, 278 yards total. Their time of possession, 21 minutes, 22 seconds with 1 mistake. And man, the only real difference was, I think, the passing game. Looks like Salt Lake was able to pass the ball a little bit more versus San Jose, but rushing was pretty close. Time of possession was definitely close, and even both of them having 1 turnover. So what do you think put Salt Lake. I was going to say Stanford. Lord. Salt Lake over the top?
Looking back at that game, both teams, it almost like they were in each other's huddle because they both came out with similar game plans defensively throughout the game, which it forced both quarterbacks to check the ball down to their tailbacks a lot, and no one could just seem to complete a pass deep. And I believe at the end of the first half, the score was like 3-0 or something like that, if I remember right. And but come that second half, those same defenses still came out, but both teams took more shots downfield. But Salt Lake was, able to take advantage of some cover 2 looks that they were given. And man, a couple of those passes just barely got over the linebacker's hands and to their receivers, and they were able to capitalize and got a couple of long scoring drives, passes downfield for touchdowns, and that was the difference in the game. Salt Lake City, they came out that second half, they just were not to be denied. They got so close, and they weren't about to come away without a win. And congratulations out to those guys. Tommy Utah, he did his thing, and they got the W.
Definitely. And it wasn't Tommy Utah that got player of the game. It was actually his wide receiver, Ace Sharp.
That's right. He had like 7 catches, I think.
Exactly. 7 receptions, 174 yards, 1 touchdown, and went 24.9 yards per catch. So, again, great season, SFLM season. I think this is probably one of the most exciting seasons for SFLM that I've seen. Just because you didn't make it to the dance, just because you didn't win the championship, do not think for 1 second that you're any less valuable, that you're not important, that the progressions that you did make and everything that you did do went unaccounted for. We had a heck of a time watching all of y'all do your thing. I wish all of you the best of luck in the draft. And just keep your head up.
For sure. I'll be doing the broadcast of the draft first round on Saturday. So I look forward to seeing how these guys are going. Nice.
And that's going to be very interesting. And I'm sure that it's going to be some surprises. I'm sure that it's probably going to be some heartbreak too, but we don't know until we go there. But again, guys, don't be discouraged. Things happen for a reason. There have been some people that returned back to the SFLM, whether they didn't have the position that was offered. And they wanted to kind of stick to what they were planned. And you see how much they made a difference, by even going back to the SFLM. So, hey, you go back to the SFLM, you might walk away with a championship ring. So it's all the way in how you think of it,
The advantage of returning is the guys in the SFLM, they progress faster than the pros. And so they make a choice to return because they want to develop their player faster and become more of a commodity for people looking to draft, those players at those positions. So it's all about strategy. And, if you want to be patient and continue to develop your player, or if you want to take a chance and come out in the draft, it's always interesting to see what decisions those guys make and why. So we'll see how unfolds this weekend.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to the signings. Man, there have been some crazy things going on, like some really surprising things going on. For me, I would say some of my top ones were the 3 amigos with Doug Day, Brian Craven, and Cameron Collier heading over to Louisiana to help them out. They also add Otis Boudreaux, too, that was playing for Las Vegas last season. They also added Mike Ryan, too. So they have a star-studded cast of characters over there, man, to be able to help them out. So they're going to be somebody to look out for.
That, and combined with the fact they got great coaching over there, they have one of the more aggressive defenses in all the SFL. Gerald does a great job, exposing offenses for their weaknesses, and I think his team led the league in turnovers last year, if not one of the top guys in turnovers. And all those people that they added is going to just give them an added dimension. That, and the fact that bringing on their fullback Cameron Collier from Lone Star, and in my opinion, and second place is even close. He's the best blocking fullback in the entire SFL. If you go and look at the tape, he is knocking linebackers back 2-3 yards off the ball. And imagine him blocking for Streeter. It's gonna be a sight to see. And man, you better put your helmet on tight. So that's gonna be a day in the office trying to bring that duo down. So we're gonna see how it plays out.
Definitely. I think another surprising one was James Richards going over to help out the Los Angeles Lakers. in, more ways than one. And I was like, okay. So that's going to be very interesting to see how they all mesh together, how they all gel together over there.
That's going to be very interesting. James Richards came from Houston, didn't get opportunity over there, but he used to coach over in Florida, I believe, for like 3 or 4 weeks the previous season. He's a former owner in Indianapolis, and unfortunately some things happened and he took a hiatus. So if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all. I wish LA the best of luck.
Oh,
Sully hanging there, bro.
Yeah.
I just leave it at that.
Yeah, there you go. That's all you can do, man. It was interesting to see Tina and Albert begin heading over to Lone Star too.
Yeah, well, Albert got his coaching opportunity over there, and with Tina being, I believe, his wife was fiance. I mean, that was given. Yeah.
So, who do you think was some surprising people that were added to rosters?
A couple of them, I would say, A-Star Miramontes. He was a receiver in Vegas. Now he's moved to fullback. So that was kind of interesting. Jeff Melinis, if I'm saying his name right, Melinis, retired his player, and now he's a punter for Louisiana. Then you got Jeff Duffy, former Defensive Player of the Year. He decided to leave Queen City and going over to Fort Worth, who was already stacked defensively, setting records and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting to see how they use him. But I'm sure that Fort Worth had a favorable schedule last season. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with them moving forward. I'm sure Cam's going to give them a tougher schedule this season. I can only imagine. And we'll see how it plays out. But that defense is already stacked with him on it. Oh, my God. It's just going to make those corners that much better.
Definitely. Anybody else that kind of stands out to you as well?
Cameron Curtis leaving. Let me see, not Cameron Curtis. Curtis, what's his name? The logo, leaving Queen City. Curtis Stevens, I think his name is. Broadcast partner. It's a shame. I can't think.
Right? So you messing up. I think it is Cam Curtis though.
Yeah, I think it is. No, he's Cam Curtis is Fort Worth. It's Harnick. Can't think of his name. He's gonna curse me out later.
Yep, he sure
Broadcast
is.
partner. I'm sorry, but
I'm not cutting this either.
I know him as the logo. He left Queen City and signed with Vancouver, and I did not see that one coming. I don't know if he's going to be a 1, 2, or 3 because previously in Queen City he was a 2, but I'm sorry, he was a 1, and Hacker played the 2. But then when Hacker left, he became the number 1 receiver. So I'm interested to see what Vancouver. I haven't looked at their signing, so I don't know what his value is compared to the other receivers. But where does that leave Kendra and those guys? So I don't know. I have to wait and see. But that was a good move for Vancouver there. They got a great weapon over there with Curtis. So let's see how it plays out.
That is interesting. That is a good point. Because Kendra was their number 2. What number?
Yes, she was number 2. Yep.
Okay. But I did know she's taking on that assistant GM role too. So maybe with that can help, but
Ethan Kai, he moved from safety to corner with Houston. He's staying with Houston, but he's not going to be a corner. I believe he was a safety before.
So with Houston, do you know, have you talked to Damon recently? Do you know if players that were that had to sit out a season, do you think they're going to be returning to Houston to kind of help them out a little bit?
I haven't followed Houston that much. I know they did sign some of their players, but not all of them.
Right.
There's still a chunk left, so I don't know. And I'm sure that's something he probably wouldn't share with me anyway. But
I don't know, probably not before the contracts are signed, because you don't want no more voided contracts.
That's right.
But I think that's just, just some interesting moves that were made around the league. And
Stephen Hacker, he returned as a receiver, and I remember he was telling us he was going to retire his player at season's end, and I saw he re-signed, so I wonder what the deal with that is, because he was supposed to be retiring his player, but he decided to lace him up and come back. So I don't know.
You can't let it go. You just can't let it go. You made plans to try to let it go.
Yeah,
You just can't do it, man.
Everyone says they want to do it, but when it comes time to pull that trigger.
Nope. No.
Marcus Dunhill coming back, playing for Jacksonville. That was a big one.
That is a very big one. That is a very, very big one.
Matt South leaving Portland and going to play for Carolina. That was big.
Good point.
Chris Curtis, that's his name. Chris Curtis. I knew he'd come back.
Chris, see, there you go. There you go. Now you've been redeemed.
I've been redeemed. Sorry, Chris. Jack Napier, when he made that post or that Twitter announcement that he was re-signing and they kind of kicked him out the team, and he signed with Mexico City. He is now returning back to Atlanta, so that's a good signing for them.
Definitely. And hopefully I'll be able to have Marcus on the show before the season starts, because I'm really interested to know what exactly made him come back. Did he just get that itchy trigger finger and just like, man, I got to throw some more passes. I miss it too much, man. I'm just curious to know what actually brought him back, and if Jacksonville was in fact his first choice. So that'd be interesting.
It's hard not seeing your player on the field.
I bet.
People say it's an easy thing to do. I'll just retire your player. Yeah, okay.
And then when you hear somebody else's name being called in that spot, you're like, hey, man, that used to be me.
That used to be me.
Oh, man. But this is good stuff, man. This is good stuff. So looking forward to seeing who else is going to get signed, who's actually going to be picking up some of these fantastic rookies during the draft this Saturday. That'll be happening. It will be on our Twitch channel as well, so I'll leave a link in the description for that. And if you want to know any more information about us, if you want to join our Discord, if you want to receive a call from the commissioner, if you want to have direct access to the community content page that we all put out, please visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. Even if you want to be a broadcaster, go there, fill out the application. Got a lot of opportunities here that you can not only be a player, but try your hand at stats, try your hand at broadcasting, try your hand at beat writing, because we always need more people. So
I would say if you want to talk to Cam to get in line and be prepared to wait for a while, because Cam takes like 20 years to get back to you.
Oh,
yeah,
see.
Yeah, Cam, I said it.
Well, he gets back with me pretty quickly, so I don't know about the rest of y'all.
Well, you're the 4-time community ambassador, so he's gonna give you a call right away. People like me, I gotta get in line and wait, so I don't know.
Well, you the one over here scaring everybody, talking about, I'm gonna sell the team. I'm gonna do what? You scared the hell out of everybody.
I was acting on emotion.
I am going to be a PR person from now on, okay? Just run them videos about me first.
I need one. I'll add you on payroll.
There you go.
One of your 9 jobs you already had.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. But thank you so much, Eddie. We'll be back with you towards the end. Next up, I have the King Awards with Isaiah King the third, and then following that, my 4th and GOAT interviews with Will Todd as well as Sean Moore. Stay tuned. All right, and we are back with Mr. Isaiah King III, making his mark on my show and in this league, of course. 2 interceptions in a championship game. Okay. But Terrell has come back because he would like to give out some awards for the rookies that have made the most impact this season. And I'm going to let him take it away with who he thinks deserves offensive, defensive, and special team nods, as well as team overall team nods as well.
Okay, so I basically this list wasn't made based off of activeness. It was really based off of actually how your character did. So first and foremost, I did an MVP and I gave it to Douglas Brown because, again, like I said, even though we got him first round of the playoffs, that guy. He's a difference maker on the field. His stats were ridiculous. He produced his production was just it had an impact over everything, and it made his defense kind of be able to ease back. It made his quarterback be able to relax. He had a bigger impact than anybody at all this year. Of course, Salt Lake City was the champs. Told you, AJ. But then offensive player of the year, Douglas Brown. Obviously, like I said, his impact is crazy. Defensive player of the year, I gave it to Dante Graham. He's always flying around. They come from the same team, which is crazy, but Dante was always flying around. He had like 8 pass deflections. He only had 1 pick, but he was always breaking something up. He gives me a run for my money at best safety. So I definitely have to give it to him. And then I also gave staff of the year to Albuquerque. Even though we won the championship, the undefeated regular season, that's really hard to do. And I'm not sure if any other SFLM team has done that before. So, I went ahead and gave it to them. Then I did pretty much by position. Best quarterback was OJ Bruin. OJ is always efficient, makes good decisions, a leader, and just helps his team out. He's a crazy, lefty, and I'm pretty sure he'll go pretty high in the draft. Best back, again, Douglas Brown. Best receiver, Salt Lake City's own Kelsey Brown. Her impact was crazy. Best tight end, I gave it to Jim Copeland Jr. He had I'm pretty sure he was a top receiving tight end. And he's pretty active, and he did his thing every week. O-line, I forgot how to say this. You told me, but I forgot. O-line was Piran Barra. You told me in chat. Sorry, Piran, if I messed that up again, but you told me. You're the top O-lineman. O-line's hard to do, but I'm pretty sure Piran plays for Albuquerque. And their run game was crazy, and then Perrin was just always active. So that combination for our O-lineman is kind of hard to judge, but he did his thing. Defensive lineman, definitely have to give it to Robert Crone, leader in sacks from D tackle. That is such a hard thing to do on the interior. You can be double teamed, every down, and to get the most sacks out of any D lineman, it was, easy gimme for you. My top linebacker, I have to give it to Leon Thunderman. Just gave him his nickname, the Lion, because that man, he rules the front. He's everywhere. He is always breaking up passes, stopping any run. Leon, in my opinion, is a top prospect and the top linebacker in the draft. And then top DB was obviously Dante Grimm. Like I said, 8 pass deflections, just always flying around the football, making a tackle, breaking up any passes. Like we say in the back end, no fly zone, and that's him. So the Grim Reaper got that award as well. And then for kicker, I don't know how to say this, but it was Pate. I don't know how to.
Patois?
You have to tell me that one. Patois. I don't know. I don't know that one. I went ahead and gave him top kicker on that one. So that was my awards. Pretty much based off production and what your player actually did on the field. And then again, for the staff of the year, Albuquerque, they just put it together. Even though they fell short, they put it together. So
okay, that was pretty dope. And I noticed that you were again being selfless and not including yourself in those lists. And even not too many of your teammates, even though you guys did win a championship, like I said, you decided to give kudos to something else. So that does show that you are a fair person, but it's also more of a team thing. It's not about your individual accolades. It's about how others perform too. So kudos to you for that, sir.
Right. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. You're very welcome. And next up, I have my fourth and goal interviews coming right up.
What's up, SFL Nation? Queen AJ. I just want to say thank you, AJ, for giving me a minute to record a short video to be a part of the free agent show this evening. You know, I plan on being on next week live. This week has just been a hectic week, 12-hour shifts. Really haven't had a time to do much of anything, but I did want to just send a little something just to be a part of the show. Congratulations to all the free agents that got signed. I look forward to seeing how we all become difference makers on our squads this season. Thank you, Queen City, again for giving me the opportunity my first year to show the league what I could do. A big shout out to Albert, man. You just don't know how much you helped me, always being there when I need a guiding hand on building my player and get me to where I am now. Man, you get all the credit for that. And I know you're going to do great over at Lone Star, man. They got a great guy. So, God bless you, bro. And Eddie Gage, I know that you're going to pick right up where he left off. I'm going to lean on you like I did Albert, you know, so that my player can be the best that the Scorpions need him to be. I knew that when I first heard you talk, you mentioned that you were a defensive-minded coach. Me as well, defense all day. I'm about that D, laying that wood on the field, banging heads, man. So I know I'm going to fit right in well there at the team. Great locker room. Thank you guys, teammates, for really welcoming me to the team. I look forward to the up and downs, man. You know, it's those low moments that bring us together. So when we get that victory, you know, it's gonna be that much sweeter. You know, and the ultimate goal is that ring. Yeah, the playoffs is cool, but that ring is the number one goal. I see the Scorpions being listed with the Nightwings, with the Legends, with the Storm. That's the expectation, you know. That's the level that I see us being at. So I just look forward to playing my part, playing my role, being an asset to the team, being an encourager to the team. So look forward to hearing this name, Sean Big Dog Moore, in the future. So thank you guys. Hopefully I get a chance to get back on next week live with you guys. And with that being said, it wouldn't be right if I didn't end with that growl.
All right, everybody, welcome back to my fourth and goal interviews. And I have with me my new favorite tight end, Mr. Will Todd. How are you doing?
I'm good, Ashley. How are you doing? Glad to be in Arizona.
Oh man, I'm so glad to have you over here. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out. And I remember when you first entered the league, how much of an impact that you made. and Eddie was talking about you, and we were just like, God, I mean, I wish we could just sign Will Todd, but we hope that he goes to a really good team. And you did in Atlanta,
Atlanta, yeah, Atlanta was great.
So if there was some way we can get this man on our team, that would be amazing. And look, it happened.
That's right. 1 year later, it happened. I'm just really excited.
Oh man. And I'm loving the jersey. I love your video that you did for us too.
Yeah,
that was
great.
pretty good.
It was fun. It was a short video, but it was still fun.
Exactly. Got the point across.
That's right.
Well, Will, so tell us, what made you decide to test out free agency in the first place?
Well, as I said, Atlanta was great. The people were great. Mark, the owner, was great. And I think in another situation, I would have probably stayed there. I mean, they were just a great group of people. But with Jamal Wooding, there was no chance that I was going to be the tight end one. And while being number one, quote unquote, isn't necessarily my primary driver to be here, if you have an opportunity to be a number one in your position slot, I think you owe it to yourself to give that a shot at least. And so I knew that there were going to be opportunities in the league for a tight end one, and so that's why I went ahead and declared. And whenever you and Eddie started reaching out to me saying that it was going to be a possibility at Arizona, that just really amped me up at that point, and I was all in.
Oh man. And it was good enough. It was good that TJ, well, things kind of just worked out the way they did.
Right.
The reason why the position was even open, for those that don't know, is because Jacob McCall wanted to be number one or number two wide receiver. And with the Hands brothers, in those positions, unless they decide to leave or unless something happens, they were going to be staying in that position.
You bet.
So he wanted to, find his dream of being number one, which is cool. Wish him the best of luck. It kind of hurt to see my buddy go, but he's just going to another team. That's all. But then TJ expressed that he wouldn't mind taking over that position. He was like, okay, well, so who's one of the best tight ends out there that wants who would want to join the squad? And then you showed up. And it was, oh my God, this is perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool sequence of events that made that opportunity available, and I don't think I've thanked him in the chat, but thanks TJ for going to wide receiver 3 and opening up the slot for me.
Absolutely, and I think with the wide receiver 3 position, it can be often overlooked for somebody that is looking to be for the number one spot, but I know that there were a few games where Jacob McCall helped us tremendously.
Came up big,
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And even with the kick return touchdown that he had, things like that. So if we utilize properly, which I'm sure you're definitely going to help us with that situation. Every person on the team can have a big role. Whether you'll be an old lineman, if you can make those tackles and help help DJ or help me stay upright, that's having a major impact on the game.
That's going to be super important. That's exactly right.
Right. And while those stats are not necessarily tracked, you can tell the impact from from how many times I get sacked or things like that. So I know you're going to come over and help us with the scouting situation, which is amazing because we need it.
Mm-hmm.
We needed it. Mm-hmm. What are some of the...
Well, I've still got a lot to learn, but...
Yeah. But what are some things that you're planning to help out, or how do you, without giving too much away, how do you plan to kind of help us get over that hump and maybe go deeper to the playoffs, perhaps even the championship?
Well, two things. Again, I hope that the player on the field is starts out and then progresses to be a quality contributor to the offense. I mean, I offense. But secondly, and possibly even more importantly, I hope that through the behind the scenes scouting effort and anything else that I can help Eddie with, he can design game plans that take advantage of the opposing teams, if not weaknesses, weaker areas. Things will gain us, a couple more games that we wouldn't have necessarily won otherwise. And if we can do that, if we can add 2 more wins to the win total, that's going to be big. That's going to be, not only a progression in Arizona's fortunes, but it puts us, I think, in a really good position in the playoffs. Not only just getting there, but then also to go deeper and hopefully win that chip.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how important is it, or what's the most important aspects of scouting for those who are interested in getting into scouting? What advice can you give?
Gotcha. Well, you have to understand that if you're going to scout, it's going to take time to scout each game. There are only a couple of people that I know in this league that are able to watch a game and get all the information that they need watching the game in real time. It takes time. It takes more time than just watching the game. You still with me? Okay, you froze up. So,
I am with you,
okay.
And you kind of froze up. So if you want to go back to when you were very first talking about it.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You have to realize that it's going to take time to do the scouting. Very few people in this league that I'm aware of so far can watch a game in real time and adequately scout the team that they're looking at. I end up having to take the recorded game and basically stop it after each play so that I can make sure that I have got the formation. If I can identify the actual play, and of course that's going to take you a couple of a minute or so each play. Well, when you add that additional time, if the game is an hour and 40 minutes long, it's going to take you 3 hours to scout the game. And a lot of people aren't willing to put that kind of time in. So if you're really interested in scouting, you got to realize it's going to take some time. The second thing is to make sure that you either, depending on the needs of your team and the desires of your coordinators, you need to make sure that you've got an Xbox with the game so that you can actually look up the individual plays, or find somebody that's actually got screenshots of that entire catalog of plays, so that you can, once you've got the formation identified, look up the play, if that's important to the people on your team.
I was just getting ready to start talking and I was muted.
happens to the best of us.
Very true. Very true. So with that, when you're scouting, is it important to actually know the actual plays right offhand? Because I can imagine like someone like me, for instance, I know some plays, but not all 6,000, so how important is it to actually know the plays that you're seeing to be able to relay that to the owners or the coaches?
Right. And different coaches and different owners, oftentimes the same people, they have different requirements. So depending on the team you're on, they'll tell you what they need from you. But as far as knowing the plays right out of the gate, I think that's impossible, particularly if you're a new player like myself. I've tracked football and played football games all my life, but different games have they call plays different and things of that nature. And like you said, there's a huge number of plays in this game, and that's why it's important to have the Xbox so that you can go into the playbook and actually identify those plays that way, because otherwise, 90 all slants is about the only one I'm going to recognize just instantly whenever a team is running it. Everything else I have to look up. Now I've gotten to the point now, because of the scouting that I do in the minor leagues as well, I'm getting more familiar with the plays, but I think it's going to be quite some time for me to get to where I recognize, a significant number of plays and don't have to look them up. But I'm willing to look them up because I've got the ability. I've developed a system at this point to where I can look up, once I identify the formation, I can look up a play pretty quickly. And but it still takes time.
Definitely. So is it best to start in the minors as far as becoming a scout?
I think if you get the opportunity, if you're a minor league player and the coaches indicate that they have a willingness to train you in that and a desire to help you learn that into the game, take advantage of it. And I think it's just like anything else. The more you do it, the better you're going to be at it. And if you scout for a season or even 2 seasons in the minors, when you go to the bigs, you're going to bring a skill set, or at least the beginnings of a skill set that's going to help you not only be of higher value to that team that you go to, but I think it gives them the opportunity to do better, because as you said a while ago, it's a help to the coaches and to the owners if you're able to do any level of scouting.
Gotcha.
Even if you're just starting out.
Okay, so are you familiar with legend settings?
Well, I mean, I know we went to Legends, and I can tell that the game played a little differently than what I was expecting from having watched the pro settings or the previous settings, and but as far as all of the nuances of what the differences are, I'm still learning that stuff as well. So
from what you have noticed, the differences that you have discovered in between the two, which one's better? Is legend settings better? Or is it a situation to where the original settings would have been better? Because I think the original reason why they went to legend settings was because they wanted to kind of change the win ratio for the home team, because it was perceived that the home team was win. If you were playing a home game, everybody was just chalking that up as a win.
I did hear that, and I don't necessarily believe that was accurate. I think the perception might have been that Denver never loses at home, let's say. But I mean, Denver rarely loses on the road either, or at least they had been the last couple of seasons. So I'm not sure it had really as much to do with the home team aspect, and even in real life, there is such thing as home field advantage. So trying to take it away, I don't think would have been realistic. But I really think the biggest change moving to the legend settings is that you're not going to have as many super backs, let's say, running backs that rack up 200 and some odd yards a game routinely. Maybe it makes the game a little bit more realistic. It makes it harder, but I think it makes it a little bit more realistic. And it's kind of, I think sometimes we get too caught up in saying we need to make a computer game realistic, but I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that it takes away some of those outlandish numbers that you would occasionally see, well, pretty frequently see actually, in some of the other games. But we still had, even this last season on legend settings, we still had running backs and quarterbacks and so on have monster games, and I think that also is realistic, because occasionally in real life you're going to have a guy break loose and have a monster game. So
phenomenal. Well, so you followed Arizona for a while, and you've seen our ups and downs, things of that nature. In your opinion, what do you think needed to change within Arizona to be able to capitalize off those sometimes drop passes that we would get, or interceptions, I should say, and things of that nature?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if if I know enough about the game to really be really smart in my answer here to you.
No, just tell me what you're just thinking.
Yeah, I think that the way the game changed, particularly in Legends, is I think it changes the way an offensive coordinator in particular has to plan his passing game. Whereas in the previous setting, I watched a number of games where there were deep outs or deep post patterns would routinely get open, and you'd connect and you'd have big passing games or whatever. Now we're seeing if a coach is calling the same plays, you're seeing more interceptions, and I think the folks that changed their game more to a short crosses, short outs, things of that nature, they tended to throw fewer interceptions. Now, I won't say that they always threw fewer interceptions, because there's teams that even tried that still threw a lot of picks, but that may have been based on quarterback progression. They may not have progressed as far as reading coverage and things of that nature as well as other teams' quarterbacks did. So that's probably the big thing that I would say there. Is the effect of the passing game. Again, the number of interceptions seemed to track higher to me once we went to legend settings.
True. And then I found out on our roster that I wasn't labeled as a star player too. So that might have had a lot to do with the interceptions, the close games, things like that. Because what happens if I was a star player? Would I've connected those passes?
Sure.
Never know. Well, we'll find out this season how everything's going to work out.
Right.
But speaking of this season, so I'm getting ready to let you go because I know that you're busy. But
that's all right.
What are your thoughts overall for season 17, and with you being in the desert?
Well, again, I'm really excited with the prospect of playing in Arizona. I think that now that we've got all of our roster slots filled, I think that was great. Going out and getting quality free agents, re-signing, some really important people that maybe we weren't expecting to re-sign when season 16 ended. Cliff Allen coming back out of retirement, is, I think, big. So I'm really excited that we're going to have a quality team to field, and certainly, Eddie's coaching is really good. So I'm excited for the prospects. Now, of course, tonight we find out what the schedule is, and we're expecting it to be, I think in Eddie's words, brutal. So, we'll see just exactly how that plays out. But every team, every game has to be played. And I think even looking at the schedule, not getting too high or getting too low about what the schedule looks like, because every game's got to be played. And as you know from the number of games that you've played, anything can happen. You can win games that nobody gave you a chance to win, and you're going to lose games that are break your heart because you had the game in the bag. And we know that recently, don't we? So so anyway, I'm just really excited for season 17, and watching what the other teams are doing with regard to their free agent signings has been really interesting, and the draft coming up in a few days is going to be really interesting to watch too.
Yeah, true. And the thing is, you're definitely right about not knowing exactly how your seasons is going to wind up, because when we saw our schedule for last season, we were like, "What?" I asked Eddie, I was like, "Did you make Cam upset? What did you do? Why do we have all these, difficult teams to play?" But then you made it to the second round of the playoffs. So I don't think it is who you're playing. I think it's just how prepared you are during that game because you can beat anybody any given Sunday.
That's right.
Quickly, what did you think about some of the recitings? Anybody that kind of stuck out to you? I think for me, it was Brian Craven, Doug Day, Cameron Collier going over to Louisiana. I was just like floored about that. I think Johnny Pickner going over to London was also like, what is going on?
Yeah, the Pickler signing to London, I think that was probably the worst kept secret in the league, because I mean it's pretty obvious that he and Chad are friends and have had a good relationship, and I mean the chat has been talking for weeks about it was a foregone conclusion. But you're right about the three amigos going to Louisiana. I really am pretty close to Coach Craven and I was really happy for them to get to a location, that gives them an opportunity to really contribute to taking that team to the next level as well. And I think they're gonna have fun with Ross and those guys over there. And that was an interesting. That was a better kept secret. Let's put it that way. That was an interesting signing. I didn't know where they were going, but I was happy to see that. There were a number. I can't name them off the top of my head. I don't have all the rosters memorized yet, but there were some interesting free agent signings. There were some guys that initially opted to go free agency that then went back. Saren Storm, for instance, re-signed, but he had originally gone into free agency. So some of that was interesting. But now watching the draft, like I said, in a couple of days, that to watch everybody plug the few holes that they have left on the rosters is going to be fun. And then you'll start being able to, at least in your mind, start stacking teams where you think they're going to end up.
Absolutely. And hey, we get to sit back and just enjoy the draft this year. We don't have to worry about trying to fight for anybody. And rookies, of course. I love my rookies.
I hear you.
But this is the only season that I haven't had to do that, so I get a chance to kind of sit back. So it's going to be great. Awesome. But Will, thank you so much for coming on, giving us your thoughts, letting us know how you feel. And I'm so glad to have you as one of my other weapons to throw to. So I know it's going to be a heck of a season.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to catching some dimes from you. So there you go.
That's right. Now you do understand that if you miss them, there's some push-ups that has to be.
That's okay. I've been working out, getting ready. So I mean, if I have to drop and give you 10, I'll do that.
All right, sounds good. But all right, well, any shout outs, last words before you go?
Nope. Just thanks for having me on, and just kind of as a last word, want to once again give my best wishes to Atlanta and all those guys, and hope that they have a good season, except when we're playing them.
There you go. Win all the games except the ones we play. Gotcha.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, that is it. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm really glad that you were able to kind of come and hang out with us. I did do a community poll, and apparently you guys want to see live shows from me as well as my recorded. So I am looking forward to getting very familiar with OBS software and being able to produce my show. Unless you got some people that want to come out and help me out, I would definitely appreciate that. Just hit me up in the DMs, let me know what you can do to kind of help out. Other than that, I'll be trying to figure everything out on my own like I always do. But I want to thank Will Todd. I want to thank Sean Moore.
Will Todd.
I want to thank Isaiah. I want to thank Isaiah King and the third. And I also want to thank you, Eddie, for being on the show, helping me out. Really appreciate it. Enjoyed your show. Say it with your chest, man. Like, you got a lot of positive feedback on that, so I'm really proud of you. What do you have to say to the people?
SFL Nation, thanks for the love and support y'all showed on the show. I did not anticipate that. Like I said a million times probably already, I did a poor job of promoting it. And to see 51 viewers come out live and listen to me for an hour and a half was something I did not anticipate, but thanks for the love. It's been a long off season, but I'm enjoying not having to sim for a while. I'm trying to enjoy all this time off I can. But just know I will be back in the lab and getting our playbook ready for week 1. Arizona, I love every last one of y'all. And we're going to go find a way to compete and make a deep run in the playoffs again this season. I look forward to it. And until the next one.
Sounds good, man. We're looking forward to it, man. We always gonna roll with you, man. Y'all through all the times where we only won 4 games, the 5 game, the 90 interceptions that I wind up throwing. I'm gonna have to sign a whole lot of balls during the convention for that. But yeah, you know, it's gonna be worth it in the end when we finally get that ring. All right.
That's what's up. When we do,
right.
I'm gonna buy everybody on the team a championship ring.
Okay, that's gonna be really expensive. Just so you know. But we appreciate it.
I'll buy them in spurts. I'll buy 2 here, 3 there. How about that?
There you go. Baby steps.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much again for coming out and watching us. I'm looking forward to bringing you another great podcast later on this week with the rookie pre-draft party that I'm throwing. Any rookie that wants to be a part of that, please DM me. Tell a friend. Come on through. Just going to have some good times and show these teams why they should select you. But until then, y'all, stay safe, treat each other well. Eddie and Striker out.